So to begin with, you will be asked to tell us what work activity you undertake. Now, this can be one or several work activities depending on the nature of your business. So for this example, I've selected brickwork. Now, the work category will then give me a mandatory industry role of construction, which cannot be removed for this work activity. But additional industry roles could also be selected. So we could also select something such as principal contractor or supplier as an example, which will bolster out this profile and give us more detail on the type of company that you are and the role that you do. Adding additional industry roles will generate additional questions, so it's important to remember that. The industry role and the work category has also driven a mandatory category related activity for me of working with hazardous substances. And again, that can't be removed. On this occasion, we also have some advisory category related activities of the use of ladders, towers, mobile elevated work platform, fixed scaffold, and the use of a general scaffold as well. They're all advisory requests and they can be removed or added to fully bespoke the profile of your business. Plus, there are a number of other category related activities that we don't believe would necessarily be relevant to your work activity, but you may still find that they are, and you can select those to make sure we get a true view of the type of business that you actually are. Once you've done that and selected that profile, we're then introduced to our tailored question set, and this can be broken down, and we will do so now as we flip over to the following slide. So we break this down into two sections. We break it down into what we call our core criteria, and the core criteria here will cover some key topics such as a health and safety policy and any associated documents that go alongside with that, training records and communication evidence, so we can demonstrate that health and safety is ongoing and is also being used with your employees and keeping them up to date and up to speed. We'll also look for an example of a risk assessment for the work that you undertake and something that's recent as well as some current insurance details. Now, that core part of the assessment will be standard for all companies that come through the SafeContractor assessment process, but the level of detail that we'd expect to see and the nature of that documentation will thoroughly depend on the type of business you are, the size of the company you are, which is really where we apply our knowledge and our experience to make sure it's right for your business. The profile that you've selected, so that work category profile we selected, would also give us some additional requests. So things like trade-specific qualifications wouldn't be a core requirement, but for brickwork, we'd absolutely expect to see them. A method statement, again, for brickwork, we'd expect to see that you have a method statement for your work because of the level of risk associated with it to make sure it's right for your business. Asbestos awareness, again, because it's a construction-based work activity, we'd expect to see that that training has taken place and your staff are being regularly refreshed on that type of training. And again, because of that construction industry role, a construction phase plan would be a requirement for the type of work that you're doing, unless you could demonstrate or explain that you're only ever working under a principal contractor and never taking on that responsibility yourself. And then finally in that section, if you remember, that mandatory category related activity was the use of hazardous substances, and therefore a cost assessment would also be required for the brickwork category. So you can see the difference between the standard set of requirements and how your profile has driven some requirements which are more bespoke, more relevant to the nature of the work that you do. And this is how we really make sure that the application is tailored for your business.